Welcome to the Pure Living Family Podcast, where we empower families with autism and chronic illness through hope, wellness, and community. I'm Sean Blymiller, your health coach and host, bringing you real life stories and tips to help kids and families to thrive. Today's episode is with Jessica White, who talks about her journey in finding healing through a protocol that includes yerba mate and fiber, and how she turned that into a thriving business that she can do from home. As a single mother, it has been important to her to find work that she could do from anywhere, and she's super excited about the help that this is providing people. Reach out to us if you have any questions or curiosities. Let's dive into today's episode. Hi, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Pure Living Family Podcast. I am excited to have a real conversation today with Jessica White, who has been kind of a mentor and guide in some of the work that I've been posting and some of the content I'm creating. And so I'm excited to dive into the conversation. So, Jessica, thanks for being here and being willing to share.
Absolutely. It's an honor, and thank you for even thinking of me.
Well, okay, so the theme of today's conversation, I was let go from a clinic in August, functional medicine clinic, and I've been trying to figure out what's next. And in that process, part of what I'm searching is what employment opportunities, money-making opportunities are out there that I can do from home, because partly my wife's taken on a lot of the full-time work and covering a lot of the financial needs. And how can I contribute from home? Part of the challenge is Theo's bus picks him up at home at 9:15 a.m. It's really
Mhm.
challenging to find a caretaker
Sure.
to be at our home in the morning to get Theo dressed and ready for the day. And so I've taken that on. And so now finding employment and work to fit that schedule has presented a challenge. Now, Jessica and I was on my weekly hikes with Theo, and I ran into Jessica. We had known each other through social media, but we never really had a conversation. And we just started chatting on the trail, and we had mutual friends.
Familiar face, right? Like, I was
Yeah,
like, wait, I know you.
you're a part of the local awoke or woke. I don't know if woke a local community that's into meditation and mindfulness, and you're very passionate about that work. So anyway, we just started talking. You told me about Unicity, which is
Mhm.
nootropics, supplements. So why don't you tell everyone, how did you come across this tool for making money and also um, for your health?
Well, I mean, I'm like, how far back do we want to go? Because really, it was my own health journey, and then also me being a single mom because of a health issue. My husband passed away from cancer, and I don't know how far back we want to go, but because of all of those scenarios, it's like, okay, number one, trying to find sustainable work. And I'm an entrepreneur. I have other irons in the fire, other businesses, but it's like you're trying to make all the ends meet, especially when you're the sole provider, right? And so trying to like figure all of that out after my husband passed away. And then with my own health journey last year, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, um, super treatable, non life threatening, thank goodness. But nonetheless, it was a real shock to my system. And I thought, okay, if my husband died of cancer, I just got a cancer diagnosis. What is going on here? Right. And I knew, like, I get chills right now. It's like I knew something needed to change. And I also believe in these synchronicities, like just like we met on the trail. I was at a class with a friend of mine and she started talking about fasting. And I'm like, why am I being so drawn in by this? And she
Yes.
started talking about the different hours of fast and how, at a certain time frame, you start to clean up damaged cells, aka cancer cells, right? And so that really pulled me in, and I thought, okay. if I've had cancer in my body, then I want to do this. I want to go and do a longer fast. And so I read a book on it, I studied up, and then I went into a longer fast, and it was not easy. It was a 3-day fast. Have you ever done anything like that, Sean?
I have, and
Okay.
it's a spiritual journey, I'll say.
Yes. I know. I felt like I was in between worlds, and I'm sure that was partially my blood sugar. But I know it's easier for men. For us women, sometimes we have to like determine when during
Yeah.
the time of the month and all of those things. I was still new to all of it. So long story short, I I do that fast and then I'm like, I need help here. What can I take during a longer fast? Because I know I'm going to want to do this multiple times
Mm,
in my life to keep restoring and regenerating my health. And that's when I was introduced to this protocol and business. Never had the intention to jump in as a business. I was like, no, this is for my health. And then as I started to do some research on it and realized how clean and wholesome the company is and the product is, and already gone through my own tragedy losing my husband, knowing that this could potentially save someone else's husband or father, I'm like, I can't not talk about this. Okay, I guess I'm signing up as a distributor. And lo and behold, it went from my own health journey to, oh, this is a business to, wow, I've got to get things in order and put these other businesses, like get all the key players in those so I can get out of the day in and day out so I can really grow this business. So it's been a journey over the past year. And I don't know if I explained all that right or if that's what you wanted from me, but like it it's kind of like a walk, like a what would I say? An intuitive walk where it's like my gut was pulling me the whole time, like, try this fasting. Okay, try this product.
mm,
Oh, try this business. And I, like you were talking about with, and I'm getting goosebumps again, like the meditation. I mean, I've been doing breathwork coaching for the past couple of years, super passionate. In fact, I just had a friend reach out. She's like, Jess, are you still doing your breath work? And I'm like, I'm not right now, but potentially I'll come back to it. I have to put my focus on this thing. And all of those efforts, like all of those things, I even though like even though I absolutely loved it and I knew it was really helping people, I knew I had to shift directions. I didn't know why, and I didn't even understand where this was going to
mm.
go. But it was like, okay, it's a faith walk. I'm just going to do this. And now I'm starting to see why. Like, and I
Mm.
know it's so much deeper than what I can see at this point, but the lives that I've been connected with, the people, and obviously what we're talking about today is that the income from home is like that's where it's at. I mean, as a single mom, like at trying to do it on my own, right? This is a huge blessing for me.
Well, I love that for a number of reasons because part of the social posts that I've created over the last few weeks is it's really challenging from a sole provider perspective of to meet the ends meet. I
Yes.
had read an article that the low middle class income line is like $114,000, and as a
Hmm.
single individual, it is really difficult to surpass that and do the caretaking of the kids and the home all at once.
Amen.
Um, so,
Hmm.
I mean, you know that better than anyone. So, I don't know if you want to maybe add anything to that and how challenging that was, and maybe even how recent was it that your husband had passed?
So he passed away 6 years ago as of November. And at that point, I was a photographer. So I was like, that key man, like, I have to show up and do the job. I can't leave my kids at home. How do I do this? Okay, this is the crazy part. And I keep telling people if someone would have sat me down and said, Jess, you're going to become widowed, then the pandemic is going to hit the world 4 months later. You're going to homeschool your children. What? and you're gonna somehow figure out how to like financially afford everything and all the things. I probably would have curled into a ball and been like, I don't know what to do, right? And I have done that several times, on the way, but somehow we get the strength to do what we need to do. And like, it's just crazy, right? Going from two household income or two income household and and then suddenly trying to put all the pieces together on my own. And for me, passive income is like, or residual income. I've always wanted something that I could do so I could be more present with my kids, more focused, and be able to be home because I'm like I said, I was a photographer at the time, and it's like I can't go up to Park City and shoot for this client if my kid's sick, and then COVID was happening, so grandma can't come watch because we couldn't mix households. I knew I needed to shift then too. And so then I shifted another business around at the time. So long story short, and I keep saying that, but that was a few years of just trying to finagle some things. It was last year that I had my thyroid cancer diagnosis, and then this year that I discovered this business. So it's a huge blessing because, like I said, I've always wanted something that's passive, residual, something I can basically, I don't have to think about overhead. I don't have to think about compliance. None of the bells and whistles of the actual company. I just point people to the product.
Hmm. So you started in February, March?
Mm. Yes. Hmm.
So, okay, so let's rewind. You were talking about the friend talking to you about fasting. I think you mentioned to me Fast Like a Girl, a book that you had read or
Yes.
something.
Mhm.
Um, and then from there, that's how you discover the product, the protocol.
Mhm.
So pick up from there, like tell
Yeah.
us that story of how that all played out.
Okay. So I actually dived right into the business before I even tried the product. I started to research it, and like before I even like I knew I wanted the product already. I hadn't even tasted it, tried it out because it's a drink, it's two drinks. I just knew. I just knew. And I was like, nope, this and I've invested like Sean, I've invested way too much money on business coaching, on other business deals and things that this investment was like this. I'm like, really? That's all I need to invest to potentially and this franchise is like it's so vastly different from the potential you could make from others that are like the stay at home type of thing that, I'm looking at creating legacy wealth for my family. It's not just me making ends meet. That's pretty freaking cool. So when I was introduced to the product, I said, "Sign me up. I hope I like it." And I ended up loving it, obviously. And there was a small, like I said, small investment, but it doesn't feel small to everyone. And in fact, it was a little I was squeaking by at the time too. Like in perspective, it was small to what I've invested before, but at the same time, it was still like, hey, this is a little chunk of cash that I need to invest. But I was able to recoup that pretty quick because it's a duplicatable thing. I hope I'm not, am I saying too much here? But like it's duplicatable systems. And they give you so many ways. They coach you and teach you. The trainings are incredible. So yeah,
Okay. Well, I mean, let's dive into it. We're right there
yeah,
anyway. What is that investment to buy into? You call it a digital franchise, which I like that language,
yes,
by the way.
yes.
So, what does that cost and what does that give you?
Yeah. So and going back to that franchise, so really you are investing in your own business while it's still a company and we're representing their product, but really this becomes your baby, your business, and you can grow it however you want, which is really, really cool. And that initial investment is about $1,500 and some change. And I know they now have the feature where you can like split it into payments as well, which is really cool. They didn't have that when I signed up. Um, but the cool thing, when I did sign up, my mentor told me, he said, "We will get that within 30 days. We'll get your boxes moved. Let's do this, you know?" And they taught me what to say to help people be interested in the product, and I had everything sold within a week. Now, does everyone do that? No. But I see the possibility of also how to coach people in the same way. Like, okay, how can I help you to turn that investment so you make your investment back quick, right?
Yeah, and I'll call it 1,600 just to round up to be
Yes,
fair to those folks. But
absolutely.
so the 1,600 gives you the digital franchise, so you're basically a business owner.
Hmm.
Um, but you're also getting 10 boxes.
Yes,
You
of the
mentioned.
product.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So talks. What does that entail? What's included?
Well, and that's so cool because a lot of things that you can invest in is almost arbitrary. It's like not any tangible goods that come with it necessarily. But worst case scenario, you have 10 months, these 10 boxes of this product, this life changing, life saving product that, like I said, worst case scenario, you could use on yourself, right? But yes, so these boxes, they come with this protocol. And I mean, that could be a whole other, podcast, right? And you're familiar with it, right, Sean? Um, but it comes with these two nutraceuticals. Okay. So everyone's heard of a pharmaceutical. These are nutraceuticals, clinically studied, proven to work in the PDR, so your doctor can look them up. And these nutraceuticals are changing preventative health care.
To cover the disclaimer is this is not medical advice. This is just
Right.
personal experience. You can talk to your medical provider um,
Absolutely.
to decide what's best for you. We're not providers,
Mhm.
so we can't recommend.
Right.
However, we
Yep.
can tell real life stories. And
Yep.
I'll just add a little bit. So these are the little pouches that you mix into water. It comes in a kit that provides a water bottle like this,
Mhm.
so it'll tell you what level of water to mix with each. And my experience with Theo is, um, we first started Pure Living Family, like his doctor's like, "Oh, you should start a nutraceutical business." And we
Ooh,
went down
wow.
that route. We created some microgreens and some pea protein that was some of the cleanest in the world. And nutraceuticals is an interesting new world because FDA doesn't regulate it. RFK might change that. He has come out
Mhm.
recently in the last few weeks and say that FDA might step in and regulate it, which I hope they don't. But part
Mm.
of the challenge is you can buy nutraceuticals at Walmart, on Amazon, but the clinical studies and the research that Unicity has done is
Mhm.
far and above anyone else out there as far as like third party testing.
Yes.
And that's the part that's super interesting to me.
Yes.
So that's the
Yes.
product. Why don't you talk about your personal experience, the results you got on a personal level?
Mm. Mm. Well, and that's the thing. Like, this whole theme of this podcast really is to show what people can do with this as a business, but it also affects your health in a really positive way, right? Like, we've had a lot of people sign up or they're just looking to make a few extra bucks and then they're like, "Holy cow, I'm feeling so good," right? And that's what it's called. It's called the feel great system and it really does help you feel great. So, my energy, well, let me back up a little bit. Perimenopause, mid to later 40s right now. And I could not get the weight to come off. It was continuing to creep up last year. And that was a bummer. I didn't know what to do. I was like at the gym every day, but lo and behold, something was off. And so when I started doing intermittent fasting and then I started incorporating these two plant based products, all of a sudden it started to melt off. And really, that is the best analogy because it felt effortless. And I'm like, what? How? Like, what is going on here? Okay, well, obviously I'm giving my body what it needs. I could tell that it was helping heal my gut. Going back to that, I don't think I have a balance on my desk. Maybe you still have your balance. The fiber,
Yeah, this one, the
that fiber is amazing. And I came for the yerba mate. So there's yerba mate and fiber. And the yerba mate energy, like I was talking a little bit about the energy, the chlorogenic acid. And don't quote me on this because I can't remember how much. I swear they said 10 times the amount of a cup of coffee. And that's what most people are after is the chlorogenic acid in the coffee, not the caffeine. And there's theobromines. You want to look that one up too. I'm sure you probably know, Sean, what those are, but they're mood boosting, they're focus. They give you better focus, better energy. And, I don't feel that afternoon crash. So we're talking to an audience of people who are at home. They're stressed, right? With like their kids and like there's just a lot on their plate. You need that energy, right? And I feel you, right? Like that's just been my life. Like 3 o'clock, I know I'm going to feel pretty crummy typically. Ever since the protocol, it's like, boom, okay, it's 3 o'clock and I still have tons of energy. Right now it's 6 o'clock, 6:15, feeling great. So the energy, the weight loss, I dropped 20 pounds in 2.5 months. I'm not special. That we've had a lot of people lose weight. Everyone's different. So not everyone loses it right away. But if this is something that's very common and we say, it works just as good as the shot and all of those things, if not better. Sometimes it works better for people, which is really, really cool. And that fiber. So going back to the fiber, that, like I said, I came for the yerba mate because I knew it would help me with my fasting protocol. But the balance or the fiber, that is not your average Metamucil, right? It's not your average one source fiber. This one is over 7 plant sources and they make this matrix and it is gut microbiome healing and I can tell because it flattened my tummy. I don't have the pain that I used to have when I eat out. I used to just get a lot of discomfort. I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's like 16 years ago and anything autoimmune and gut, right? And so I have my kids taking this because it's just plants. It's plant-based products and really good on the gut. It also blunts your blood sugar spike by 43%, which is pretty freaking awesome because we haven't even got to really what is the feel great system for, Sean? Like we're trying to
insulin
get to the root of
management.
what's that?
Insulin management.
Yes. Yeah, we want to get away from insulin resistance and back to insulin sensitivity and it's it's amazing. You can literally this is the coolest thing. If you want to try this, if you guys are like, "Huh, well, I should just try this for myself," because like number 1 is our health, right? If we feel good, then it's that much easier to find employment or find something we love to do or really be present with our kids, right? And so like try it for 90 days. They have a guarantee that it will work or your money back, which is pretty incredible. And you can see in your blood work, you could take an A1C test and just see where that number jumps to. So, yeah, it's really awesome.
Well, I love that. And okay, so let's talk about the earning potential. So, you mentioned call it $1,600 the initial investment. You were able
Yeah.
to recoup that investment within a week. How were you able to recoup that? What does that entail? For
It entails psychology. It entails psychology with yourself first and foremost. You got to have belief. You got to have belief that okay, I felt the nudge to do this, so it's going to move forward. But then also psychology is sales are really big for psychology is big for sales. I'm dyslexic, so I kind of flip things around every once in a while. And my mentor really taught me quick, concise ways to get people to try the product with me. That's really all it was. It was like, oh, I'm doing this for 90 days. Well, I've got other boxes on hand. Do you want to try it too? Boom, one box sold. Oh, another box sold. I'm talking to my friends. I'm talking to my neighbors. I'm talking to my BNI business group. I'm talking to whoever. And then I'm getting on social media and I'm kind of teasing people there and saying, hey, like, who wants one? I got three left. And, it's really a psychology, but that's the cool thing about this company is we really hold your hand through the process and help you as much as you want, right? We will help you to do that as well. So, and I've had some partners do the same as me. I've had others not, and that's okay too. And we all have different goals. Um, but that it's twofold because so I recoup the investment and then it's been like customers already in the back office that they come and go, but it's steadily grown. And so that's grown my income a little bit. Like, okay, this is better than a kick in the pants. Okay, let's see. I made about, the first month I was like, woohoo, I covered my own order, and then which is about $159 a month. And then and then some. There was a little bit of cash. And then the next month I was like, oh, I just made $300, and then it kept going up. And then it was like, oh, I made $500. And that's to some people, hey, an extra $500 is phenomenal, right? Extra $1,000, cool. We have people in this business who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I don't want to and I'm not blowing it out of proportion, but I don't want it's gotta. Some of us can't even imagine that, but it is actually real. So, $10,000, $50,000, $100,000. But really, it is how much are you willing to be consistent and keep going with it? So, there's twofold it's customers, having, customers, and you could go supercharge it with social media, right? Social media, I mean, you could do the business without social media. Let's say you're not comfortable on camera and you don't want to do social media. You really could share with friends and family. You could pick up the phone and make phone calls. You definitely can do it that way. But social media will grow it exponentially. And then, my partner, Sheridan, overnight ended up having like 600 orders from a reel that popped off on TikTok. And so it's that consistency and continuing to go. So the second part to this twofold thing, customers and then building a team. So that's the other beauty of this business is, and let me preface, I didn't even want anything to do with potentially building a team at first because it intimidated me. I was like, I don't even know what to do with partners. I'm new. How am I even doing this? Right. And how much time do I have? I have like a family and I'm a single mom and I've got all this stuff. And again, that divine guidance and things kept just coming. And I'm like, all right, okay, I'm going to do this. Now I think it's my favorite part.
Uh-huh.
It's my absolute favorite part. But that is the power of, what is the word? I'm trying to think of the word. I mean, you can exponentially duplicate through having partners because you're getting not only are you getting like their partner sign up commission, but then you start to earn off of their customers and their partners, and it just continues to snowball after that. And so, um, I believe in, like I said, these divine synchronicities, how we met on the trail and all of the things. Same thing happened when I was connected with one of my partners. And she's brought me up from $500 a month to $5,000 a month, literally by calling her on I've been doing this for 8 months. So,
That's really cool, and I thank you for your vulnerability and transparency, and currently what you're making, and how long it's taken you to get there. And My goal is there's a lot of families out there that messaged me directly of looking for opportunities to make a little extra cash so that because a lot of families they're going without, they're
Mm,
making
yeah.
sacrifices, they're
Or
cutting costs to buy cheaper products, to go without
mhm.
just so that they can be there for their kid and be present for their special needs kid. And this is just an opportunity for you to make a little bit of extra cash on the
Yeah,
side. So maybe you can go to
absolutely.
a movie as a family, or you can go to an activity as a
Mhm,
family.
mhm,
I mean, the vision for Pure Living Family as a whole for the nonprofit is funding events for parents to connect with other parents
mhm.
through retreats, and then also we're doing a lot of smaller events come 2026. But this is just a way for us to reach our community across the country, and just out of gratitude for the support we've received for what we try to share. My wife, obviously, being the celebrity of the show, really being the one that has been fully transparent and vulnerable
Mm,
and real for years now, on Instagram specifically, telling our story. So this is just my effort to help those moms and dads out there if you're looking to make a little bit of extra cash and at the same time help
mhm.
people live
Yes.
more naturally, holistically.
Mhm. And help your own family with it too. Like, it's
Yeah.
been life-changing for us as well as my clients, and, and like you said, this could be just a little extra cash on the side, but it also could potentially turn into a full-time thing that you run from home, that you hardly have to, like, you gotta prime the pump in the beginning, and then eventually it starts to run on its own, and I think a lot of people really have a hard time believing that there's really something out there that can actually perform that well. But in this company, I really do think it has the right structure for that. So that, I mean, to me, like, I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck, and I don't want to be like, okay, I made ends meet for the rest of my life. Right? I'm 47 and I'm like ready to, like, really think about what do I want to do over the next 10, 15 years, and I don't I want to, like you said, go I want to go on the fun trips with my kids. I want to just be able to afford the extras and not have to really stress about money anymore. And when you find something like this that can give you that opportunity, it's pretty incredible.
Well, in full transparency, Jess is our mentor, so she would help with us, any partners
Yeah.
that come in, as well as her mentor Sheridan and Joe, who have been amazing for me,
Mhm.
just on a personal level, right? You can look at what they're doing on social media. Check out all the content that they're creating, which is a
Yeah.
ton of content, and they're doing a lot of research to provide this content. And if you want to research Benjamin Bickman, who's kind of the face of the organization, uh,
Mhm.
he's like an exercise sports scientist, that speaks around the world.
Yeah.
He is an authority when it comes to nutraceuticals. He's the voice of the brand, I would say. He has a lot of amazing podcast interviews, for those that want to do further investigation. Those are just a couple rabbit holes that I encourage you
Yes.
to go check out. Um,
Yeah. Well,
but
and it's this community too. Like, I didn't realize I would have another family of
mm,
people. Like, and you talk about, like, being home alone with your kids, and there's a struggle with just parenting in general, right? And sometimes it can be lonely, and having, like, this support group, this community, and they're really refining you and helping you become a leader, basically. And the cool thing is you could take any platform or niche or direction that you want it to go, because I know, Sean, with yours is very specific to you. Mine's very specific to, like, hey, I lost a loved one, that if I would have known about this would have really helped our family. I hope this helps yours, right? So we all have our own, we're basically we're basically talking to someone we're talking to the person we were 5 years ago, or what you know, what we needed, right? And so that's the cool thing is you can turn it into it's your franchise, right? It's your business and it can be and you can literally like I've watched how much I've grown over the past 8 months. I'm like, wow, that comes from the trainings, that comes from the community. I mean, it's just been wonderful. So,
Well, I love that. And I think the last thing I'll mention is the social isolation that you mentioned, you insinuated, it has been some of the most challenging times of my life. And part of what I've shared on social media has been somewhat therapeutic, um, which has been difficult to say the least to expose to the world.
yep.
Um, so this is just me trying to help as many people as I possibly can. Jess, I know, does that every single day, as well as Sheridan and Joe, her
Mhm.
husband, that would be part of the community you would be joining.
Yeah,
So,
they're
Jess, thanks so much for joining. Any final thoughts you have for anyone considering this?
Yeah. So you're probably thinking, oh, Sean and Jess, they're really good on camera. I don't know if I could do social media. I'm not sure if this is my thing because really what they're asking is, I mean, again, you could do it without social media, but if you're doing social media, you are creating daily videos, right? And I guess we could talk just a little bit about that. Like, stumbling through you have to be bad at something before you're okay at it, right? And then okay before you're good and then excellent. And we turned on the camera, we were talking a little bit about like, oh, videos used to take me an hour to like edit and, trying to perfect this thing and now correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like it's becoming more and more fluid and it's like, okay, I can get this done in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And so learning how to do all of those things, but like I said, they've got all the trainings, but really it's like it pushes you out of your comfort zone. So Sheridan, our partner, started with 0 followers and she was just sharing from her heart because it had changed her life. And she's grown her social media to thousands and thousands of followers, blew up her business. She basically was supporting the family for a while because her husband decided to join her on the distributor side of it. So he quit his job because she was making enough. And she said, this was never an intention for me to make it be a full-time business, but she was following her heart and it turned into something really magical. So um, I think taking the chance on yourself, there was a time where there's no way I could have done even this podcast interview. There's no way I could have gotten on camera on Instagram and talk or done a live there. There's no way. But you can grow and you can keep learning those skills as you push yourself and you get rewarded in a lot of ways, like with the physical health with the product and then the community and, profitability.
Well, I love that. And my community out there that I connected with, namely wellness coaches, which there are a lot of wellness coaches popping up. This is just a tool
Yeah.
to have in your toolbox. A lot of
Mhm.
clinics are building their practice off of GLP-1 injections, and this would be an alternative to that.
Mhm.
And it would be just a tool to help with weight management, but much more than that, gut health, and it goes so much deeper. And we're willing to have further conversations of the specifics behind that. So those health coaches out there that wanting to expand their business and their income,
Mhm.
um, let us know.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That would be so cool. And I just think that, you know, until people know about this, we keep just going along with whatever big pharma is showing us or okay, these are our options. Like I've had multiple people come and talk to me and say, I just figured I had to go on the shot. And there wasn't another option because I wasn't able to lose weight any other way. I'm like, guess what? There is a natural alternative and it actually works. Right. And so that's that's what my full mission right now, because my voice isn't loud enough to do it alone on the rooftop, right? I need more people. Sean needs more people to be able to spread this good word because it really is. It's like this is going to change preventative health care as we know it. So there's huge potential with this. This isn't just some, what was the Tupperware that people used to sell back in the
Chef,
day?
what is it? Chef.
Pampered Chef?
Yeah, Pampered Chef. My mom used to have those parties at our home,
Yeah.
and
Yes, the in-person parties, like, this is, like, take that concept kind of and turn it into 2025, like, AI, new systems, like, so and there is huge potential. And this is something, yes, we all need Tupperware, we need to be able to, like, hold our food somehow, but we all really, really do need like, this is a big problem that we're solving with this product, and that's why I firmly believe, especially when you have a team on your side, you will succeed with it if you're willing to put in the work.
well, and the one thing that I love is every Tuesday the science calls. That's really what
Yes.
convinced me to jump in
Love
and
'em.
do the investment. Is they're bringing in actual physician assistants and medical
Mhm.
professionals that are adding this to their practice and speaking to it from a scientific perspective. And that's a great thing is it's connecting the authorities with the
Mhm.
everyday layman people
Yep.
like myself, I'll say. But there's no longer a separation between authority, lab coat physicians.
Mm,
Now there's this common ground that people can collaborate and mutually benefit from a
yeah,
project together, and that's the cool part of what this project is.
yeah.
So Tuesdays, if you're interested in knowing more, you can
Mhm.
obviously reach out to us. But Tuesday nights, evenings, they always have science calls. So if you want to know more about the science
Yeah.
specifics, Jess, this has been
Yes.
amazing. I know we went a
Yeah.
little bit over than what we said. Thanks again so much for
All
joining us.
fair. Yeah, this is wonderful. Let's go change the world together because literally, like, there's an awakening happening right now, and I really do feel that with this. And why not bless your family while you're blessing others, right? And it really is like it pays well. It's going to help you with your health, your mental health. You're going to feel a lot better. In fact, we could have you talk to Sheridan about that because that was her big thing was getting off her antidepressants. Um, and like she was on them for 20 plus years and now she is doing phenomenally. So I digress. There's just so many facets to it that it's worth at least talking to us about it. And we're happy to do that. And, we can hop on the phone anytime.
Well, and I did interview Sheridan on the podcast about that very topic. So if you're curious to know more, go listen to that episode and maybe we'll link it in the show notes from this episode. So it's been amazing. I know there's more conversations to be had, more work
Sure.
to be done. But I know you have family and kiddos to get
Mhm.
to, so I'll let you get back to them. Thanks so much for joining tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to Jessica for sharing her story and showing us how something as simple as selling yerba mate and fiber from home can create real financial support for those special needs families out there. Jessica's passion and excitement are truly inspiring, and I know our listeners are walking away with more practical ideas and hope for what's possible when you combine purpose with opportunity. As a federally recognized 501c3 nonprofit, Pure Living Family survives off the generous donations of listeners like you. Every contribution we receive goes directly into creating events and resources for parents of children with special needs, helping families connect, learn, and thrive. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe to the Pure Living Family podcast and share with a loved one so you can never miss another episode and story. And share Jessica's insights with those who you think could benefit. Remember, whether it's building a business, a support network, or simply finding your own well being, we're all in this journey together. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Pure Living Family podcast.